So I think about my career in 4 quarters. The beginning for me was just a notion that I wanted to work in sports. I didn't know what that meant, but I started out, like everybody else does, at the bottom as an intern. I did several different internships. I started really at the Olympic Training Center, which was such an exciting time because it was right before the Olympics in Atlanta. So I had a really great view of sports and all that it brings. The second part of my career really started when I officially began working at Fox Sports. And I was working on the acquisition side of the business, so acquiring sports rights, everything from boxing to tennis to hockey to basketball. What that allowed me to do was identify another passion of mine, which is working with people, working with clients, negotiating deals at that time. Then I went over to a place called the Tennis Channel, which at the time was a nascent network. It actually hadn't even launched. I was employee number 13 over there, and I loved it. I loved that time. You know, building something from the ground up. My job was to go out and secure tennis rights for this wonderful new channel, and I did that for 4 years, and we really built a legacy, which was great as the small team that we started. And then I moved on to the other side of the table. That was the third quarter for me, which is international sales. I went to the sales side of the table. That was at Comcast. So I had a similar role to what I do now. I was overseeing international sales for channels like E and Style and G4. So yes, we sold a lot of Kardashians. We sold everything from the G4 video game shows to Golf Channel series. And it was a really great time to be on that side and to understand what it was like to be now the seller instead of the buyer. That led me to my career, the fourth part of my career, which is the marketing side. So through NBC Universal, I was working on sales marketing in the marketing solutions group for television distribution. And I had the good fortune, at that time I was living in London, and I had met with the NBA a few times. And they called me up and they said, we have this great new opportunity. We want to build our marketing discipline in Europe. So I said, okay, sign me up. So I came over to the NBA, and that's where I've been for the last almost 5 years. So when I first came over to the NBA, I was working across the European business, and that was such a fantastic time because there's so much growth and there's so much excitement of our fans around the world. And as a marketer, to be able to capture that within the NBA was a thrill. So I did that for about 2 years, and then moved over to do essentially the same on the international side of the business. So build up our teams in several different markets. And what I love about the NBA is it's truly a global sport. And what that means is that we've got fans all around the world, and they are so passionate about our sport. And there's nothing like being outside of the US and representing such a great sport and just seeing how much it connects with fans. It doesn't matter if you're in London or Johannesburg or Rio. All of the fandom is the same. It's an instant connection, and being able to work in sports for me has always been about connecting people and bringing people together.